Hi, friends. Welcome to a new week and a new month. Yeah, we kind of entered February last month. However, yeah. So, I just want to do a brief recap of like the moves I made for the month of January. The first week of every new month, I would just let you guys know what I did the previous month in my portfolio. But before I go any further, I'd just like to make a disclaimer. This is not financial advice or investment advice. If you want good financial investment advice, contact a financial advisor. So these are just the moves I made, not for you to copy. So yeah, that's it. Just for entertainment purposes, as they like to say, right? So yeah, awesome. So let's dive into it. So before I tell you anything about the moves I made, you first have to know what my portfolio really is. So then the moves I've made will make a lot of sense to you. Okay. So first, my entire portfolio is just the Nasdaq. Okay, so like before January, all I held was the Nasdaq 100 QQQ, and I held a triple leverage version of the Nasdaq. And the reason just being I want greater exposure to the Nasdaq, and I believe very long term, in this top 100 companies. So I know it's going to outperform. So I'm willing to take the increased risk of having a three times leverage position. Now, this is not for everyone, because when it drops, it really drops. Like it did in January, it dropped quite significantly. At a point, it was down almost 50%. For most people, that's like a ah. Anyway, but for me, it was perfect because I owed a portfolio of the Nasdaq 100 three times leverage plus cash. So whenever it drops below a percentage, I buy, which means I get to buy into the fund at discount rates. So when it climbs back up, I get quite massive returns. So it's very volatile, much more volatile than the Nasdaq underlying index. But I love volatility. I love those kind of price fluctuations. It doesn't bother me at all, and I'm investing for the long term, so it's great. So I used to hold the Nasdaq three times leverage on cash. So if this goes down, I add this. If this goes up, I add to this. So it was balancing along the way. So I've actually done very, very well in the market. But this year, when the market dropped significantly, I decided I wanted to open up some individual stocks portfolio, um, or positions rather, because I've been watching some stocks that I really like, and I want to hold them for the next couple of years. So stocks like Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Google, Amazon. Those six stocks. I've been watching them for quite a while, and I've just said, okay, I really want to buy these and hold them for the long term, but they were too expensive because the market was going on a bull run for the last like 12 years or something. And if you've invested regularly, one of the number one things or lessons is you never buy at a high point. You need to have a price target, and when it drops to that level, then you buy. That's your entry point. So I had different entry points for those six companies. So Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, Google, and Amazon. And as soon as the market dropped significantly for those stocks, I loaded up on them. So I normally don't recommend to people to buy individual stocks, but most of our portfolio is already in the ETF, and I already own some of those stocks in the ETF. But I wanted individual exposure, and the reason is because of the risk of my portfolio. I don't want to hold too much cash anymore. I want to be more defensive because looking forward, I think the rising interest rates and the supply chain disruptions that could happen and things that could happen this year, I would rather have a better defensive portfolio and not too aggressive. So I'm going to keep my aggressive portfolio there, but I'm building up a defensive portfolio. So I'm using these individual stocks, and not just the stock itself. I'm actually getting into the leverage position in these stocks as well, which is even crazier. But there's a plan, and I'll explain what my plan is. So basically, whenever these stocks rise above a particular amount, I sell and I get into my defensive portfolio. I use the money to increase my defensive portfolio. So for the defense, I'm holding currently the consumer staples index fund, so the US consumer staples index fund, because I know that if interest rates rise, if there's lots of supply chain disruptions, if there are lots of chaos in this world, no matter what, people are still going to need the staples. So people are still going to need to go to Walmart, to Costco, they're still going to need to buy shampoo, toothpaste, basic food, So I'm trying to build up a bit of a defense in this index fund. So the top holdings are Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Walmart, Costco. These staples, they'll be here for forever and they'll be here for a really long time. They don't fluctuate so much and they tend to do very well during recessionary periods. So I'm just trying to build up a bit more defense. I'm still going to hold some cash, but I want to build up this defense. But to build it up very fast, I'm getting into these individual leverage positions in these 6 companies I mentioned before. And it was a very good decision I made because as soon as the market dropped, I got into these positions and they've done really well. For example, Microsoft dropped 8.6% up to date so far, Apple 5.3%, Amazon 7.4%, Tesla 23%, and it goes on. It dropped quite significantly. So when I was buying in, just any slight recovery, it multiplied 3 times and it helps my portfolio grow faster. So far, I'll just give you for example, my portfolio in Amazon is up 11% in less than 2 weeks, because any recovery in Amazon is multiplied 3 times and I get that. So it's up, 11%. My position in Google is up over 17%. In fact, it was up over 35% at a point, but at the moment it's up over 17%. So my main fund is still the Nasdaq 100, which I'm going to hold for the long term, and I'm going to keep adding to it. But at the moment, I'm not adding more to it because I want to build up a defensive portfolio. But I don't just want to use all my cash to build up this defensive portfolio. So instead, I'm taking a bit more risk in these beaten down stocks, which I know are always going to be there. Google is not going anywhere. Amazon is not going anywhere. No matter what you try to do, these companies are going to be here for a while. They are going to recover. And I want to get outsized gains. So I'm going deeper into leverage, into them, 3 times leverage on all of this. And as they recover, I sell. So it's more active. Okay, I'm playing a more active role. For the past couple of years, I've always just been a passive investor, but now I want to play a more active role in my portfolio by rebalancing often. And this means, yes, I get to pay a bit more taxes because I'll be selling and buying more regularly. And I don't recommend this for new investors, but I want to be honest with you guys to let you know what I'm doing in my portfolio. And yeah, let's see if it plays out well. I think it's going to play out well, especially with the rising interest rates. When those rate hikes come later this year, I think some growth stocks would go down again, which means I'm going to buy even more. So let's see how the portfolio performs, and you get to get updates from me once a month at the beginning of the month. I'll tell you how we did the last month. So yeah, so for the month of January, my portfolio is up in the individual stock areas. In the basic Nasdaq, it's flat. It's recovered, but it's gone down again, recovered. So right now it's relatively flat on average for the year, but I'm not losing any money, so I'm happy about that. But in my individual stocks, it's doing really, really well, and it's played out very well for me. So those are the moves I made for January. I'll update you at the beginning of March for the moves I made for February, but I can sort of tell you in advance. And I'm just going to be adding more to my individual stocks portfolio, and just to use that to build up my defensive portfolio. And yeah, I think that's the best strategy for me right now. If you're a new investor, I still think your best strategy is just to buy and hold the entire stock market, VWRL, if you're in Switzerland, or VTI in other places, and just dollar cost average every month. Don't try to copy what I'm doing. I love investing. I love to spend time reading and checking the prices and making bets and all of that. So please don't copy that. Look at the major thing which I'm doing, which is just buying a passive fund, and just letting it ride. And that's still the bulk of my portfolio. So yeah. And just a quick note on Facebook. So I have actually been having fears of Facebook itself as a stock. I personally don't believe in the company for the long term. Facebook now being called Meta, I don't believe in it for the long term. So that's why I did not open any positions in Facebook. I know some people are like, well, you should buy Facebook stock, it's going to do well. And it's beaten down quite significantly, like it's dropped significantly, but I don't believe in it for the long term. So I'm not going to get into Facebook at all. I'm not going to get into Facebook. I'm not going to get into Netflix or any other companies. The only six companies I know that I can bet on for the long term will be Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Tesla, and Google. So for now, and those are in different percentages, of course, with the biggest holdings in Apple, Microsoft, and Google. The others are smaller holdings. Awesome. So don't forget to subscribe, and we also have a Facebook group. It's called Financial Freedom Switzerland. Make sure you join. We'll be having a webinar sometime this month. I'll let you know the dates. It's going to be a Q&A session for those who want to find out about investing. So yeah, and I'll also be having a live event as well sometime this week, or sometime in this month, a live event. So for those of you that are aware of it, it's a closed live event for just a few people that want to attend. So I'll let you know if you're interested and you live in Switzerland and you want to attend, let me know and I'll send you the details, but it's closed, so I'm not really advertising it out for others. So yeah, thank you very much. And if you want to start investing, if you want to gain access to my beginner course in investing, let me know and I will send you the details so that it's really going to help you. You can start investing today and build your wealth for the long term. Thank you very much. Have a lovely week, and the market is going to open with a few. So let's see how that goes. I'm very excited for this week. I'm hoping for more green days, which means portfolio is going to do very well, and your portfolio as well if you're in the market. Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. And don't forget to subscribe, to share with your friends and family, and to join our Facebook community. Thank you, and bye-bye.